What is going on, everyone? It's Nero again, here for you, some Call of Duty Black Ops 1, actually, playing some domination on the map Nuketown, and welcome to this week's episode of Dear Nero. If it's your first time watching this series, it's a weekly series where you guys send me in fan mail, fan questions, and I do my best to go ahead and give you guys answers to them, and every week we try and do different questions I haven't covered on before, and it's a pretty fun series, it is. So, this gameplay, I want to talk about the gameplay, because I'm a stickler for this kind of gameplay. I love it, it's great stuff. So, I'm playing Black Ops 1. The other night, if you follow me on Twitter, you guys may have caught it. I was like just in there talking about Black Ops 1 all night. And I'm playing solo. I was playing this by myself. I was running some high streaks at the beginning, then I realized my teammates were like so bad that like I need to help my team even just barely win. So I'm sitting there using like UAV, counter UAV, and Blackbird. And this is one of those matches. I'm playing by myself, and a subscriber actually like randomly recognized me, and he's on my team. And he gets this clutch kill streak at the end, which helps us win this match. And it's such a dogfight for the entirety of this gameplay. Like the entire match, you know, we're fighting for B. This is a freaking dogfight, and I get a ridiculous amount of kills and a pretty considerable amount of deaths. And I'm not using any lethal kill streaks, and it's a really good gameplay. I think you guys will enjoy it. So now that that's out of the way, I always like talking about gameplay, even for a little bit, even on Dear Nero. But I figure let's hop into this. Let's get into the first question, because we got a good little batch of questions. You guys are getting good questions sent in to me every week. But the first question is pretty interesting. So he writes, Dear Nero. Last night, I was standing with my friend downstairs at a cafe, and a man in a black hood walked past us and greeted us, then continued to walk. The man walked back after a minute later with a knife and threatened to stab us if we didn't give us all of our money. I quickly gave him a small amount of money straight away. Afterwards, I had to talk to him and actually felt sorry for him that he had to do this, and we ended up shaking hands and he went on his way. My question is, should I tell anyone or tell the police that this happened, and have you been in a situation like this before? From Louis from Australia. So that's one of them like movie moments, man. Like part of me is like, yeah, man, if I were you, I'd be like, you don't got the balls to stab me. And no, but in that situation, if you're actually in that situation, that's probably not what you would do. Any normal human being would probably act the way you did, just hand him whatever kind of money you had in your pocket. Have I been in a situation like this before? No. I've never been threatened to be killed before. I've had a couple funny moments. One time we were at McDonald's and we were fishing. You know, I live in Pennsylvania. We fish, and we were fishing. We walked up to McDonald's, which is actually a considerable walk away from where we were fishing, and just to get lunch, you know. And some guy stole all of our fishing poles, and we caught him doing it. And there's a big scuffle in the parking lot, and the cops showed up. That was funny, but kind of unrelated. Another one was we used to hang out at a cafe similar to you. It's a place called Perkins. It's more of a restaurant / cafe place, more of a restaurant really. And we would hang out there often, and it was late night. We were drinking coffee all night, and I went in there, I had to go to the bathroom, and I get cornered in the bathroom, so to say, by a homeless guy. And he basically just tells me a story about how he's homeless and how he doesn't have any money, and he's trying to sleep at the library, but for whatever reason, our library is closed at night because we have a small town. And I gave him like $5 or something, and that was like a lot of money to me back then. You know, I was like 15 or 16 and living off money I got from my mom. So, but it was somewhat similar to that, minus, the whole knife and threatening to stab part. Do I think you should tell the police or anyone? I would definitely tell people what happened. I'm not sure what I would tell the police. It depends really on your situation, where you live. If it was a small town like mine, I live in a place in Pennsylvania. We got 5,000 people in my town. Everybody knows everybody. And, if I were just to talk to people, people would figure out who this guy is. If this guy's doing this to more people than just you, then chances are he's already been reported, or there's different accounts of him. If you live in like a big city, like a big town or something like that, then maybe you should tell the police about what happened. Even though you felt sorry for him, there's no excuse for that. There's absolutely no excuse to get to the point in your life where you have to threaten people at a cafe, especially younger people, at a cafe with a knife to get money. No, there's no excuse for that whatsoever. If it's a big town, maybe you go to the police. If it's a small town, you don't even necessarily need to go to the police, although you could. That's definitely the ball's in your court on that one. Either way, if he did it to you, he's probably done it to other people, and he's gonna get caught eventually, because this kind of stuff doesn't usually, this isn't like the old West Legends. This guy isn't, riding around on his freaking horse running through the town to town, robbing people blind, and he's gonna get caught eventually, and it's up to you to decide how you want to deal with that. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero. Now that you have quit smoking, have you noticed a change in your daily mood, and will you ever go back to smoking? Sincerely, Martin from Canada. So we got one guy from Australia, one guy from Canada. This is a diverse show, isn't it? So now that I've quit smoking, it has been over 2 weeks now that I've quit smoking. It's been about 16 days. It's weird, like when you when you quit smoking, instead of counting like the weeks and stuff or the months, you start counting the days. Like I picture myself being like 2 months from now, I'm like, yep, haven't smoked a cigarette in 64 days now or something like that. It's weird because like the bigger the number, the bigger it sounds. Is like the better you feel about the fact that you quit smoking. But have I noticed a change in my daily mood? And I have. And it was different than what I thought it would be. When I first initially quit smoking, I figured everything would be awful in life, right? I figured I'd be miserable for a while. I find myself now having these random... Like, you ever been depressed? Like, randomly you'll just get this feeling of depression, just for no reason you'll be sad. I have that, but the opposite. I'll have no good reason at all. I will be giddy. I will just be so happy out of nowhere. I don't even know why. It just kind of happens. I've noticed significant improvements in my mood since I quit smoking, and that is definitely different than what I thought it would be. Most people say, oh, it's miserable when you first quit smoking. It has been a couple weeks, but I didn't think I'd feel this good this early. You know, I'm breathing better. My mood is improved. I don't smell like smoke anymore. It's awesome. If you smoke, I highly encourage you to quit. I got a message from a guy once. He says, you know, I smoke, but do you really, he says, I smoke, and I'm wondering, do you regret your decision to quit smoking? I mean, smoking isn't really that bad for you, so what if you die when you're 80? You know, who wants to live to be past 80 anyway? And I explained to this guy, I'm like, you know, you're saying that as if it's a guaranteed fact that you're going to be able to live to 80 while smoking. You know, my grandma died when she was 55 from lung cancer, and I'm 21 years old and I felt like crap because of smoking. It's horrible, so don't ever think that you can just smoke into a late age. You never know when something like cancer could hit. You never know when health problems like that could hit, so keep that in mind. If you're a smoker, please stop. It's not good for you. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, what are your thoughts on the Vengeance DLC and what is your favorite map? Josh from Wales. Wales! Australia, Wales, Canada. You tell me this is not a diverse show. I love that. People all around the world. I love Dear Nero for this exact reason. It's cool stuff. But my favorite map of the Vengeance DLC is exactly what I figured it would be, and it is Uplink, because Uplink is just a reskinned, a revamped version of Summit from the original Black Ops, and Summit was my favorite map in Black Ops. I loved it. It was great stuff. And I really, really, really like what they did with it. I really like the fact that it's raining now. You know, I really like the fact that it's like gloomy out, but the sun comes out on different portions of the map, and it takes like this dark dreariness of like the left path, and then it kind of gets a little bit bright while it's still kind of dreary and the rain's still coming down. It is beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, I really think Cove is probably one of the best looking maps in the history of Call of Duty. It's a great DLC all around. You're asking my thoughts on it. I like it. If I had to pick a least favorite, like I said in my videos, I think Detour is my least favorite. Not saying that it's a bad map, but it's just not as good as the other ones. You know, it doesn't look as good, it doesn't play as good. But it's still a pretty good map. I'm not disappointed by it at all. And the buried zombies in the DLC, that's one of my favorite aspects of it as well. I love all the new zombies. They seem to get awesomer and awesomer. I don't think that's a word, but they get better and better like every time, it seems. You know, Mob of the Dead was great to me. I loved Mob of the Dead, and I still do. I love Buried. Buried is really good stuff. Die Rise was fantastic. I got to round 78 playing solo on Die Rise. You guys may have caught that video. I put a couple videos out about it. Got to round 78. And the Slukifier and the Paralyzer and I can't remember the name. What's that shotgun in Mob of the Dead? I can't remember the name of it, but basically, you know, the power weapon shotgun. They always have these new power weapons in zombies, and I really like that. And they're trying to add new perks every time as well. It's really, really cool stuff, and every DLC gets better. And as a YouTuber, it's awesome. You know, you get to, I get to buy the DLC. I get to make all these videos for you guys. We get to share thoughts, share opinions about the new maps and the new zombies. And you know, I got you guys sitting there spamming me with messages, my personal messages, saying, "Hey Nero, did you notice a trample Steve on Barry? This is how you do it." I'm like, well, geez, thanks, man. And like, hey, Nero, did you know that you can take Leroy and he can build stuff for you instantly? Like all these things that maybe I want to figure it out by myself, I can watch from other YouTube videos, or I can get from personal messages from you guys, from tweets from you guys. I love DLC time. DLC is awesome. I wish we had a new one every week. You know, it's just cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, if there is a Borderlands 3 and you had to make a choice, the choice being between whether or not you could play Borderlands 3 or Call of Duty Ghost, which game would you pick? Assuming, of course, you did not have a YouTube channel, so it would not affect your views or your subscribers or anything like that. From Zach from North Carolina. There we go. We're getting an American question in here. 4th of July video, and we don't have an American question? Come on now. So, assuming, of course, I didn't do YouTube, and that was not a factor. I was just pure enjoyment for myself, not making videos, just wanting to play the games. Would I rather play only Borderlands 3 or only Call of Duty Ghosts? And the answer may surprise you, but I think I'm going to go with Call of Duty Ghosts, even though as much as I love Borderlands. The thing about Call of Duty Ghosts is it's a multiplayer game. And there's an infinite amount of replayability with a multiplayer game because each game is different than the one you played before. I could play Domination on Nuketown 10 times in a row and have a different experience every time I play because the players I'm facing changes, and the, different kills I get, different streaks I get, the traffic patterns of the map, it all changes eventually. Now, Borderlands is a very fun game, but it's a set formula. The formula of the game is that of you play through the story mode. You can do some side missions if you want. Then you beat the story mode. Then you get to play the entire exact same story mode again on a harder difficulty, and get different guns, different whatever. And then after you beat it again for a second time, you can beat it a third time in Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, where it's a lot more difficult, and you still have the exact same story missions. You still have the exact same side missions. And you're basically playing the same things over and over again, but just at higher difficulties. And because of that, I feel as though the replay value of Borderlands 2 or Borderlands 2 or Borderlands 3 kind of drops down a little bit for me. And if I had to pick, I think I would pick COD Ghosts. Although if there's a Borderlands 3, I'm definitely going to be all over it. All over it. Definitely all over it. But it appears that we've run out of time with questions here. Maybe I'm a bit long-winded on my questions. I don't know if I need to make the screen a little bit bigger here. Holy crap, my PC's like about to freaking freak out. But a final score of 72 and 33 for me. And that was all with non-lethal score streaks. That's pretty good stuff, right? I didn't remember the exact score, and I had to make the screen a little bit bigger, and therefore my PC had to go into overdrive mode. I don't know if you guys heard that in the background, but pretty good game, right? 72 kills. That's a lot of kills not using lethal score streaks. We were fighting that entire time until my teammate got that chopper gunner, who happened to be a subscriber, which is awesome. And it was a really good gameplay, and I hope you guys all enjoyed it. But that's it for this week's episode of Dear Nero. If you guys like your question feature on next week's episode of Dear Nero, simply send me a personal message here on YouTube with the tagline reading Dear Nero. It's a good question, an entertaining question. I will go ahead and read it, and I'll do my best to answer it in the show for you guys. So I hope you guys all enjoyed. Remember, leave a rating where you guys feel it deserves. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.